I've had a big wake-up call. Unfortunately, they never took it. In terms of Barack Obama, he was the man, the political leader. He was going to come in and change everything. Never going to happen. Just another a puppet for the puppeteers in the shadows. And of course, the policies went on. They just followed on after Bush, and away you go. And they couldn't see it. And another big thing happened. As a result of investing all that hope into Obama and their people's reputations, oh, this guy's different, they've allowed him to go on basically following the same policies, not least in the Middle East, of Boy George Bush. But instead of the great resistance that Bush got from a large anti-war movement, none of it, basically, under Obama. Just had this free ride from people who should have been challenging it. And I'm starting to see the same things happening with Trump. Donald Trump is the big hope of so many people in America who, well, they don't think, they know that the system run by the elite has just abandoned them, doesn't care about them, just leaves them to somehow survive. And so Trump comes along, and what do political leaders do when they're trying to get elected? They'll tell you what you want to hear, what their natural constituency of support and potential constituency of support wants to hear. And then what do politicians do when they get in? They do as they bloody like, and we're always going to do before. And we're seeing this with Trump. Trump, the idea that Trump was going to drain the swamp. Ludicrous. And so many people in these so-called alternative media fell for it and still falling for it, because even though we look at Trump's picks for his government and we see that far from draining the swamp, he's just filling it. So many of those in the alternative media that supported Trump, which is not what the alternative media should be doing, it should be challenging the system, not supporting a puppet of it. Anyway, they are keeping strong or making excuses for him, just as the progressives made excuses for Obama when he went down another road to the one he said he would. So we now have Donald Trump handing over control of the American economy to Goldman Sachs in the form of Steve Mnuchin, long-time Goldman Sachs man, he's now Treasury Secretary, and the president of Goldman Sachs, Gary Cohn, is going to head the National Economic Council. So Trump, classically, as I've just said, was laying in to the elite during the election campaign, laying into Goldman Sachs, and then appoints their men to run his economic policy. I think that will be for the people. I think that will be populist. And then we've got Wilbur Ross, Commerce Secretary, another billionaire. The whole government's filled with billionaires. Wilbur Ross, 24 years working for the Rothschilds. We have a multi-millionaire Labour Secretary who opposes things like the minimum wage. So the idea that Donald Trump is anti-establishment, he's not part of the system, as I said right through the election campaign, is absolutely ridiculous. And what was good about the rejection of Hillary Clinton and the support for Donald Trump was not because of what Donald Trump is. He's not. We're seeing it now. It's because of what people thought he was and what he represented. That is the indicator of where people are at in terms of their their view of the world. And that's encouraging, that people are now starting to say, we're not having this anymore. Now, if he sticks to it, there might be some good things that Donald Trump will do. If he sticks to it, I mean, this is President Two Mouths. It says one thing, then says another, then does a third. But if he rejects the hoax of global warming, which is only there as a justification to transform human society, in the way I explain in detail in the books and the world tour, then that would be a good thing. And if he gets better relations with Russia, that will be a good thing, because if Clinton had got in, war with Russia would have been virtually a gimme. However, even on that, we've got to be very careful about assuming, because the elephant in Trump's probably vast living room is that Trump is Israel's man, right, wrong, and anything in between. This president is going to be the most pro-Israeli president that I can think of, certainly in modern times and recent times. Anything that Israel want, basically, Trump is going to give them. And one of the things that they want is the destruction of Iran. Some leaked emails sent by the former Secretary of State Colin Powell revealed that Israel has hundreds of nuclear missiles aimed at Iran. And of course, we have had this militarization by Trump of what should be civilian posts, i.e. Defense Secretary. This guy, this military man, they call Mad Dog Mattis. Someone with a personality that prompts the nickname Mad Dog. Yes, that's just who we want running the Pentagon. And of course, we've heard from Mattis over the years how much he enjoys killing people. It's fun. Yeah, just the man you want running the US military. And then we've got this guy, Michael Flynn, as National Security Advisor, and another military man. And they have a common view, which is that they can't stand Iran, here we go, and they see it as the biggest danger. Well, at the moment, Iran and Russia and China are working as one alliance, not least in Syria. And if you go for Iran, then you're going to bring in China and you're going to bring in Russia, unless, and I'm sure this is part of the plan, they can somehow, by pulling Russia into the fold, oh, we're bosom buddies now, they can break that alliance with China. So just because he's talking, Trump, about getting better relations with Russia does not mean that he's a man of peace. I mean, as I've said, China's been a target for a very long time, and he's not even in office before he's kicking off problems with China. And also mentioning Iran in very unfavorable terms. You can see where the whole thing's going. So this whole deal with Trump as Israel's man is fundamentally important to appreciate in terms of where this Trump presidency is going to go. I mean, God help the Palestinians now. He has appointed a extreme Zionist zealot as his ambassador to Israel. An extreme Zionist zealot as his international negotiator on many things, including the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and situation. And they're not going to make any decisions to the benefit in any way, shape or form of the Palestinians. They will do what another extreme Zionist zealot, Benjamin Netanyahu, wants them to do. And Israel, i.e. the Rothschilds that created it, have an agenda for the world. And now they have the vehicle in the White House or Trump Tower or wherever he sticks himself to push that on. You'll note how much more belligerent Netanyahu and the Israeli regime have become since Trump won, because they know their man is in power, or soon to be so. And we have Trump saying that the American embassy is going to be moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. That is extraordinarily provocative in terms of Arab countries and the Palestinians. And that he will recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Ditto. And so when you look at the Trump appointments, we have the American economy now taken over by Zionists from Goldman Sachs and Rothschild employees. And we have in the Pentagon and as National Security Advisor two people who are vehemently opposed to Iran, which Israel want to target. And those that follow things closely will know that when the totally extreme Zionist controlled organization called the Project for the New American Century published their list of countries in September 2000 that they wanted to regime change, and of course the people that wrote that document then came to power with Boy Bush and started picking off those regimes in that list. Iraq, Libya, Syria, also on that list was Iran. So that is very likely to be a key word in the Trump administration, Iran, and all that comes from that.